Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of Kaipi versus Fnatic. Kaipi lost Game number 1, but they're here looking to bounce back in Game number 2, and they're going to stick to what they tried in Game number 1. Once again, we have got ourselves an Ursa pick, but we'll quickly introduce my co-cast. It is going to be Vikramond. I'm Gods from Beyond the Summit, but Vikramond, round 2 of Ursa, what do you think?
I love it when a team is ballsy enough to say, okay, it didn't work at all. In fact, it was a disaster. But we have faith. We have faith in ourselves. We have faith in our game plan. And we're going to do it again, but better this time. And I hope dearly for Kaipi that it is, in fact, better this time.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be, end of the day, maybe their captain, Zizou, looks at it and says, okay, we're done playing Ursa. Envy, I'm sorry, man. This hero doesn't work. And he's picked it once again against the Lifestealer Lone Druid duo. There's no Night Stalker this time. It looks like we're going to be seeing a solo mid, solo mid Windrunner. Perhaps, Null Talisman Windrunner. Quickly introduce our two teams. We have got Fnatic on the Radiant side, No-Tail playing the Earthshaker. No-Tail as mentioned, sorry, not No-Tail, Windrunner as mentioned being played by Hani. We've got Era playing the Lifestealer, the carry role. We've got Fly on the Keeper of the Light, and then Trixie on the Lone Druid.
Right, and for Kaipi, looking to take this game to take the series to a Game 3, we have Pylai Die on the Venomancer, Zizou, their captain, on that signature Bane that Fnatic denied him last time, Envy reprising his role on the Ursa, and this is definitely something we're going to be watching, Arise in the middle with the Queen of Pain, one of his best heroes, and Bone7 in the hard lane with Darkseer.
Well, Ursa side, I like this Kaipi lineup a lot more. For one thing, the Venomancer in the trialing with Ursa is a much better setup for Ursa having that early slow. Envy actually goes for the level 1 Fury swipes. We'll see if he goes for the max Earthshock like he normally does. And then Bone7 Darkseer, I feel, is a hero. It's not just Clockwork, but it's a hero which is great in team fights, and Surge is going to help Ursa a lot.
Right. Envy, he has the haste rune, and this actually could be a really big deal. It's difficult to be, we actually get an open wound, so Fnatic going for the first blood. The Fissure comes down. Illuminate goes through. Zizou actually with a Nightmare. Era, he is doing okay so far. They're going to pick off... Actually, Fly will die first, and then
Ursa's
they pick off
town. Ursa's going to get at least 2 kills.
Yeah,
is he
Envy,
getting 3?
that haste rune. It's a huge
kill.
He actually does for the Earth Shock.
Oh my gosh. Envy, he's done it.
Era's dead.
This is the best level 1 rune you can ever get on an Ursa. I still have nightmares to a game where I was a safe lane draw ranger, and a hasted Ursa just dives me under tower.
Oh, man. I mean, Ursa, we talked about it in the first game, Gods. Your speed versus enemy speed determines so much about Ursa. And Haste Rune at level 1 means you move at 522 and your enemies move at 300 or less. And that is an amazing beginning for Kaipi, to the point where Fnatic are just going to have a horrible time in the 3vs3 lane.
And they're looking for more blood here. They're going to see Pylai Die and Zizou come around from the side. Who are they actually going to go for? They're gone on Era.
Oh, they've got the... Oh, man, Era in a lot of trouble because, of course, he's level 1. He's going to die again. He's level 2, actually, but he doesn't have rage. Envy, he's barely walking away. 35 HP, but I think he's okay. No-Tail actually going to have to peel off here because Pylai Die is just harassing the heck out of him. Fly attempting to throw some mana... some damage back on this Venomancer. But Envy, he healing selves and he's right back in the action. Era's lack of rage is really costing him. In fact, I don't know about that Feast level 2. I think that caused him to die because he had no way to shuck the Venomous Gale. Smart decision making from Pylai Die to throw the Venomous Gale on Era. You almost never do it on Lifestealer, but he saw he didn't have rage and he was like, hey, easy kill.
Yeah, and the scary thing is now, Envy with Boots, Claw, he's going to have Phase Boots up so incredibly fast. Kaipi have won this top lane. This is a lane they weren't meant to win. At best, they maybe break even, but they should have maybe had, like last game, had a slight loss in this lane. But this time, they're dominating it.
Oh, man. So much can rely upon the red wheel runo. I mean, just getting that haste rune made so much of a difference for that first blood fight. Fnatic felt confident until they saw that Envy had haste.
Well, quick look at some of these other lanes. We have got Lone Druid up against Darkseer at bottom lane. Those two heroes trading farm, and Windrunner just found a regen rune at bottom river. Is going to go back to mid lane up against that Queen of Pain. Windrunner actually slightly edging out Queen of Pain with that level 1 Null Talisman build.
Honey doing well so far. I do want to comment really quick, because, yeah, now we have a little bit of time before this top lane goes insane again. That it does seem like Fnatic, at least for this series, have rotated No-Tail back to his old role of 4 support.
Yep.
Because last game we weren't sure, because obviously Night Stalker is more of a specialty hero for Hani. But Earthshaker is very much a Hani hero, but here we see No-Tail on that and Hani on the mid Windrunner, so it may be that they've sort of sent No-Tail back to the 4 role.
Yeah, decided to switch things back. I mean, even Windrunner is a hero which you'd expect No-Tail to be playing, but not the case here. And Kaipi so far... Fnatic so far has worked out for them, at least in game number 1. In this game number 2, I mean, that was just a series of unfortunate events. I mean, you talk about whether or not Ursa's viable. Well, it seems he's viable only when you get level 1 haste runes.
So all you need to do is hack the client to ensure that you get haste.
Well, one in 8 games you win with Ursa because you have to be at the right side and get a haste rune. So
right. I don't think he's so bad, but certainly that first game was not a good situation.
Not as bad as Treant Protector.
Wow, Treant Protector is actually super legit, gods. I won't stand to hear any more of this slander. And Envy, by the way, this is even more ballsy, even going for the same skill build. 2 in Earthshock at level 4.
It's decent, reliable damage, I guess, and just having the 1 point in your overpower is all you really need. It's just... I don't know. I guess the idea is you're not going to be able to get a lot of auto attacks off to really justify having the Fury swipes with an Earthshaker defensive Fissure.
Right. It's actually better against this Earthshaker Keeper of the Light than it was against the supports of Fnatic last game. I like it better this time. It's still going to do not too much against Lifestealer or Lone Druid, but I do like it more. The thing about Earthshaker is it's so... And yeah, you see that they've actually basically given up.
Yeah.
And that's smart, honestly. If I were Fnatic, I would be giving up right now, too. They can't win that 3 versus 3 at the point that they're deficit of levels. Envy is faster than you. You have to rotate around and try to make something happen. And the only issue is, now they're faced with a level 2 Earthshaker and a level 2 Keeper of the Light, and they have to find some lane to make them work.
Yeah. Keeper of the Light is going to stay top and try stall this, but Fly's going to have absolutely immaculate positioning because Ursa with Phase Boots can just charge him down.
Right, and we do see Kaipi, they know that he's solo down here, Fly, and they're going to just pressure and oppress him. They walk all the way around between the tier 1 and tier 2, and now Fly can no longer approach the lane. I mean, he can throw out an Illuminate from the tier 2, but he can't come up any higher than that.
Yeah, Windrunner is maybe the one hero who can look to help things out. No TP on the Windrunner just yet. He's got Bottle, Boots, Magic Wand, and we're going to see a tier 1 tower taking a lot of damage here. It does see a Glyph get popped off, which may prevent a lot of it. But Venomancer Plague Ward's one of those really useful skills for early game pushing.
Fissure, but I don't think it's going to do very much, unfortunately. In fact, Fissure is kind of a delicate thing this game. A very well-placed Fissure is a huge deal against Ursa, but a poorly placed Fissure loses you the game against Ursa. So Fnatic, a very confident pickup of that Earthshaker this time, actually.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things pan out there. And for Fnatic, it's really, they're playing from behind now. They can't really, it's like you say, where do you send the Earthshaker and Keeper of the Light to make them useful? And I don't really have a clear answer. Keeper of the Light's doing his best to stall this top lane push, but that was more just the Glyph and pulling the creeps off the tower that stalled that push.
I don't think Fnatic have a clear answer, gods. I mean, you just see them sort of wandering around, kind of adrift. Fly, he can delay this lane a lot. Oh, actually, nice Shackle. Actually, the Power Shot and Fissure, they may know. Arise blinks out, and Zizou with a pretty timely Nightmare there onto No Tail as well. The thing about Fly is he can push this lane back very effectively, but he can't be in XP range. He just has to rely upon the difference between his XP range and the Illuminate range to try to sort of spam out the lane. So he's going to be level 2, or level 3 rather, pretty much forever.
Meanwhile, the KP supports, you've got a level 4.5 Venomancer, and Bane, level 3.5. So things looking much better on the KP side. XP-wise, it's almost a 2k XP lead.
Right. And Fnatic, for their part, they've sort of banished Trixie, and he can't be happy about this. They've banished him after he had a pretty decent start. But now he's in the jungle, and Lone Druid, not the fastest jungle farmer. Of course, he started doing it at level 5, so that's much, much better than doing it from level 1. And Era, to be fair, is now finding the farm that eluded him that eluded him top in the bottom. He's improved from, I think, about like 4 last hits when he came down here to now 23. So doing a lot better on this Lifestealer, but it's going to take a while for him to be back in the game. He doesn't even have boots.
So, Fast Smoke from Envy and Venomancer. Is this either Roshan or they're looking for pickoffs here?
I would guess that they need to go Roshan, but they're going to meet something in the way. And he's got phases. Nice Fissure from No Tail. The problem is I don't know if this will save him. Illuminate, it barely tickles Pylai, and Veno is a low HP hero. Envy, he's going to chase down No Tail, doubly so when he gets the surge from the high ground by Bone 7. And there we go. Earthshaker down, No Tail gone.
Yep, ward on to high ground, and Envy... Successful smoke gank from him. He's almost got enough gold for the Vlad, so he can look to take down Roshan soon. Although he hasn't really, it's like we mentioned, he doesn't have the skill board for it. And I think the way Envy prefers to play is go for ganks, go for kills. The last time I casted, well, apart from game 1, his Ursa, he was safe lane against absolutely no one. The opponents abandoned it, and he early TP'd to the off lane for a counter gank and got like 2 or 3 kills for his team. And he really likes to be very proactive, taking part in fights early on with this early phase boots.
And I actually like that a lot, because Ursa, if he can get time on target, does an incredible amount of damage. He's not actually that item dependent, except for the fact, like, he solves very different problems from what most people solve.
Yeah.
A hero like Phantom Assassin has to solve the problem of, oh, I don't do any damage until I have 10 items. Ursa can do damage at 0 items. His problems are, how do I chase down my enemy and survive? Oh, where did actually... I totally missed that kill, my bad, on No Tail.
That's alright.
It's still the same issue. The Earthshaker and Keeper of the Light are just food.
Yeah, Earthshaker, Keeper of the Light are just, at this point, going to be non-factors for a long, long time. You've got mobile gankers like Queen of Pain, Darkseid who can surge the Ursa to make up for his sort of mobility issues, and then suddenly, once Fissure's been used, it's got a long cooldown. That's what the other big problem with Fissure. 15-second cooldown. Compare that to something like a Sand King, his Burrow Strike, it's like an 11-second cooldown. You really have to time that Fissure perfectly in a fight.
Right. And so, in the end, I mean, Fnatic... So, they're doing well, and Fnatic actually, I think, one of the best teams in the Western scene at playing from behind. I've seen them fall way, way, way behind, worse than they're in a position to now. And they can actually pull it out, because they have good poise. They've been playing together roughly since forever. They know each other, they know their styles, they don't get flustered as easily as some teams. And so if I trust any team to come back, it's Fnatic, but the problem is that Ursa is, as we said, a snowballer. When he gets ahead, he can get way more ahead, and they might get it on Ursa, on Era here. He's going to get picked up incredibly quickly. Lifestealer having no time to steal any life there, but they're going to pick off their escape, so No Tail, good Fissure, damage getting thrown from Trixie, nice Shackle, and the pick off with a power shot. And actually, Bone 7 gets entangled. He might die before he gets out here. Yes! But Arise is in. He's doing damage to Trixie, gets the pick off on the Lone Druid. Not a great trade so far for Fnatic, but Hani, nice Shackle. He will get the power shot. And he has a triple kill, actually, but there goes the Fiend Script from Zissou. Nice Fissure. They actually save Hani there. Pila Die, he whips the Venomous Gale, and I think Hani's going to walk away from here. Maybe barely, but yes.
It was one of those big... It's the well-timed Fissure. He used the first one at a decent time, and the second one came up. He waited for it, knowing the kills were going to happen. And
open wins on Pila Die. I think Era has this. He finally has his level 4 Rage here, and yes, this Veno is food. Okay. And finally a kill on the board for this Lifestealer.
It's the bounce back from Fnatic. It's like you mentioned, they're a team really good at playing from behind, and they just showed it there at the bottom lane. Windrunner was the big key hero TPing in, but even beyond that, once they kept on chasing, Earthshaker, the clutch timing on that Fissure, saving Fnatic, multiple heroes who almost went down, and also multiple Kaipi heroes who almost escaped, like that Queen of Pain, but the Shackle power shot secured the kill.
Very good play from Fnatic there, and that was actually a 4-for-2 trade. Free and clear, basically. They lose Era, they lose Trixie, but in the process they pick off basically everybody except for Zissou.
Yeah, it's really nice play, and Kaipi, well, they're going to have to sit back and sort of look at that fight and just say, okay, we can't really get too aggressive like that. Envy, he's had his flood for a while now. He's only just going to fly it out now. He sort of struggled with the recipe, it looks like, a bit. As it is flying out. He did lose a bit of gold there after dying. And Bone 7 close to a mech. So I think the big thing for Kaipi is get these sort of early game items up. The Vlads, the mech on Darkseid, and then maybe look to fight. Then maybe look to take a Roshan for themselves.
Right. Era, he is actually probably making a Vlads as well, I think. So once again, we have the mirrored Vlads on both teams. Not really an armor advantage for either. It'll be a little later for Fnatic, but actually not that much later.
Yeah, I don't imagine Lifestealer goes for it as his first item, though, as well. I think he needs to go for an armlet or drums or something, which is more an early game item, before going for maybe a later game Vlad. If anything, we see...
using his Infest, but this is going to get him in a lot of trouble. The Fiend Script is up, but Kaipi, I don't know. Envy, here he comes. He's going to pop up that Earth Shock. He doesn't even. The Vacuum, very, very good. And if Era just gets picked off by the damage from Zissou plus the Darkseer wall. And Fnatic, they're going to try to turn it around, but I think Kaipi are actually home free other than Pila Die. Pila Die probably dead. Actually, the Shackle doesn't latch. He's still alive somehow. And Hani gets picked off by Eternal Envy. Arise now on the chase. The ultimate will come out. No Tail down. The Fissure does not block them in any meaningful way, and here we go. Trixie is going to get brought down. Nice, actually, entangle there. Saves Trixie for a little bit, but he's gone.
He denied himself!
Wow.
His own Spirit Bear. That was... I saw him walking back, I'm like, I don't think that juke's gonna work. Work Trixie. But no, he was walking back to his own Spirit Bear.
Nice. He uses the Spirit Bear to shoot himself because he was he had Shadow Strike on him, right?
Yeah, Shadow Strike or the Venomous Gale, one of the two, but it's still a 4 for nothing, I guess 3 for nothing if you don't include the deny, going the way of Kaipi. And it's the Darkseer plus Ursa doing some serious damage there.
It's Darkseer, a lot of people might say that you're not that impressed with Darkseer when his illusionary wall doesn't generate an amazing illusion. And against Lifestealer Lone Druid, it's not that amazing, but here's the thing. The key ability for Darkseer is that Surge. It's not just amazing with Ursa, although it is amazing with Ursa. It's also fantastic with Bane. Because Bane has trouble closing in on a target to get the Fiend's Grip, and with Surge, he has no trouble closing in.
No problems at all, and it's going to be difficult for Fnatic to come up with a way of clearly countering Ursa, especially once he gets a BKB. Once he's BKB, though, you can't actually surge him, which is going to be the slight issue, but I imagine we see BKB, maybe just even a straight blink tag, because if you can blink on Earthshaker, you can kill him fast enough that he doesn't cast a spell.
I think Blink is very, very important because, yeah, it lessens the need for that Surge, and you can give Surge to the other perfectly worthy candidates for it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Some of those other candidates, you've got Queen of Pain building probably a BKB, considering the amount of disable in this Radiant side as well. And T1 top tower does actually go down, denied by Hani.
Nice job. And Hani, he's going to have his 4-staff fairly soon, about 650 gold. That'll be very, very good, because Hani's been critical to their fights. Some of these shackle shots, very, very important for disrupting the position of Kaipi, especially a responsive shackle shot when there's a sudden angry bear on you. Until Envy does pick up that BKB, is going to be just critical for them. And 4-staff helps immeasurably with that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And we will see Hani have to back out, because there is sort of a rotation from a Ryzer. Ryzer's been the one X-factor for KP. He hasn't got a whole lot of farm at the mid lane, but he's been sort of moving around the map, getting some key kills for his team. He does have that one death from bottom, but KP have sort of made the most out of this Queen of Pain, I feel, even with him not farming all too much.
And Envy and Bone7, they're actually curling around. They're going to come from an unexpected angle onto Fnatic. And there's the Surge. This is a very angry bear that moves very quickly. Hani, they actually use the Fiend's Grip. Nice Fissure. Excellent Fissure. 4 players hit with it. Unfortunately, Hani, nice Shackle. Goodness gracious, Fnatic. The vacuum is what it takes to actually kill that Windrunner off. That
was played so well defensively. We are going to see an entangle down into a Rise on the high ground, but he should be okay.
One more entangle will do it, but he doesn't quite get it. And this bear now in trouble. I think Trixie actually doesn't have a resummon for 24 seconds, so yes, Envy will pick that bear off. And now Fnatic, they can't pursue this fight anymore. They have no Windrunner, no Spirit Bear. Probably a tier 1 tower for Kaipi, if I had to guess.
It was a perfect fissure, hitting 3 heroes, stopping the Fiend's Grip, followed by a great Shackle Shot, but end of the day, it was 4 or 5 heroes on the Windrunner, and these are spells which weren't going to save the Windrunner. So KP get themselves a tower, a kill, and back off. Even with all the, well, just the one ultimate they really committed, the Fiend's Grip, they'll be really happy with another pick off and more momentum going their way. They're up by almost 5k gold now.
Right. They're up by 5k gold. They're going to find this Roshan, I think. It's really, really doubtful that Fnatic can come in here. Yeah. Especially considering this is going to drop extremely quickly as Envy sets his Fury Swipe stacks to it. Still that one rank of Fury Swipes, just maximum player versus player Ursa, not PvE Ursa.
It's fantastic at level 1. Like, just looking at it now, like, normally I would say, like, if you're not, I'm not looking at the skill and how it scales, I'd say, oh, you'd want more points. But looking at it now, it's 15 at level 1, only goes up to 20, 25, 30, so it's pretty strong at level 1.
It really is primarily PvE and to secure that early Roshan. And Envy's build, I gotta say, max rank Earthshock is no joke. It's 55% slow. You're gonna start seeing opponents be really, really concerned about their defense against your magic. As
and Ursa. It's decent damage, 240 damage, and a 6-second cooldown. That's very, very spammable.
No doubt about it. It's just mana that really prevents you from just spamming it all the live long day.
Yeah. We've got a couple of mana boots out, it looks like. Bane as well as Venomat. So there's the two arcane boots there to help sustain it, although he can't really do that when he's farming. But for now, KP are going to enjoy this position and they're getting some good map control. There's sentries all around the map to make sure that Fnatic aren't scouting too much out. And Fnatic are really put in a position where they can't do a whole lot. Their core heroes, Lifesteal and Lone Druid, just don't have much farm right now.
And the other issue for Fnatic is, as you said, the map control. It's not just the great vision from Kaipi. It's 6 towers to 3. There's just so little area that Fnatic can actually do incursions into Kaipi's base, if they even wanted to, since, of course, Keeper of the Light, not that great of a, I'm going to roam into your base and just destroy you hero. Fnatic are sort of forced into this turtling posture, which is difficult when the other team controls enough of the map to farm more than you, even when all your heroes are farming. Era, he might be in more trouble than he thinks because Envy does have Blink. They're just waiting for the right moment. Wow, what an excellent setup. Amazing. Pipeline with these line abilities is just really quite remarkable. And he covers Era's exit. Era actually having to infest. What is he actually infested into? He's infested into the bear. Yeah. God, Pipeline the venomous scale from high ground hitting perfectly. And then the Plague Ward covering the exit of Era. He's just so remarkable this series.
Yeah, he really has been. And Fnatic, it was, I guess, once again, a nice counter initiation. They make the best of what could have gone a lot worse, but they're still so far behind. They're still playing constantly defensive, worried about getting ganked all over the map, and KP starting to get more aggressive with their wards. Courier actually, no, it doesn't almost get sniped really. It just takes one attack from a Plague Ward, but Envy now is just farming enemy Ancients, they're farming enemy neutrals. Fnatic are just falling behind on farm, which is not a good thing to be happening right now.
Yeah, I really think that for Fnatic, now that they do have that level 6 Keeper of the Light, maybe it's about taking a couple of these towers, but the problem is that all the lanes are pushed so far and that it's going to take ages for them to do so. But they do have that ability finally to TP someone back. Trixie could sort of go to another lane and then get teleported back by the Keeper of the Light. And one way or another, they have to break this constriction. Otherwise, I mean, you already see a 3-level deficit for No Tail and Fly relative to Pylai and Zizou. And that's only going to get worse, in addition to the fact that there's just not enough farm in this narrow quadrant of the map that Fnatic have been constrained into to actually get the Windrunner and the Lone Druid and the Lifestealer developed. Not to mention, I mean, things like luxuries like a mechanism are like a distant memory for them. That's just not happening.
Oh yeah, for Fnatic, there's just so many issues right now with how things are going. And you look at Earthshaker and Keeper of the Light as far as pushing lanes out, and at this stage of the game as supports, they're not mobile at all. They don't really offer a whole lot as far, except for sitting back and turtling. So KP say, we're not going to group up as 5 and push when we can just farm your jungle, get more and more farm going our way.
Arise popping the ultimate, and Fnatic could just...
easy pickoffs.
They can't leave.
Yeah.
They cannot leave.
And
Envy actually thought about going in on Era there, but he was a little too easy for Era to escape to the high ground. But just putting the fear of God in Fnatic every time they attempt to venture out. Fnatic actually has great vision, I do have to say. Like, good sentry wards, counter warding, putting the wards down. But Trixie, still, even with the vision, they actually will make it out. They have no stuns, so good job by Trixie there. This bear probably going to... Yes, the bear makes it out. A second earlier in that vacuum would have led to a dead bear.
Yeah, well... The thing that's tough for Fnatic as well is even with the farm they're getting, they avoided a couple key ganks there. Lifestealer, there's no one really to infest in, so there's not really a whole lot of ways to initiate for them. They're going to be on a very farm Earthshaker. Lone Druid, has he got his armlet yet even? No, he hasn't quite got his armlet yet, so we're looking at a fairly late armlet. So this item progression for them is just coming a bit too late and a bit too little.
Right. Now the armlet, I mean, it's... The nice thing about armlet, or the nice thing about what it has enabled for Lone Druid, is that, you know, even if you're very behind, you still get these good item-efficient sort of build that, even if you're behind, you sort of do well anyway. The old-style Lone Druid, where you had to, like, rush Radiance, this would be over. So it's good that sort of this armlet build was developed, because it does mean that the bear, it won't be a slouch. The issue is just overall putting it all together for Fnatic, and dealing with... they had such a good approach to dealing with the Ursa last time. In fact, they were so monomaniacally focused on keeping the Ursa down. I mean, Halberd... 3 bashers? You're not going to see 3 bashers this game. There's not even 3 people for them to go on.
No, it's going to be a much different case from game 1. It all started from a haste round. I mean, talk about last game, so much was decided by having that pool blocked off. This game, so much decided by the fact that Ursa gets himself a level 1 haste rune and secures 3 kills right at the bat. Honestly, these 2 games, if Kaipi go on to win this... we will see pick-off.
Hani actually gets a free pick-off, so manages to get Pylai even in a 2v1 area. Arise's ultimate was actually down, so they didn't have the damage to just throw back on Hani.
But it feels weird, like, these 2 games, if Kaipi go on to win this, both games are going to be decided by something very small that happened right at the start of the game. A haste rune this game, and last game just the pool being blocked off.
I mean, that's Dota for you, right? I mean, sometimes just the weirdest, smallest things end up having incredible cascading butterfly effects, essentially. I wonder if Zizou is going to get away here. It looks like he might be alright. Yeah, he's okay. Yeah.
He would have been able to outrun them. He just went for a little TP instead. And it's the other thing. You can't really find pickoffs if you're a Fnatic, because apart from a Windrunner 4-staff into maybe a Shackle, you don't really have that opening.
Right. We will see 4-staff up on Venomancer fairly soon. If he hadn't gotten that death, Pylai would actually probably have it right now. But still, that's going to give them more sort of ability to position themselves better relative to Fnatic. And this Veno is going to be a little less relevant to the game for a while, until he hits that level 2 ultimate. That's going to actually make a big difference.
Yeah, the 4-staff does make him a lot more relevant, because he can actually save a teammate or push an enemy out of position, but until then, it is difficult for him. But we will see Team Kaipi. They're in the enemy jungle once again, and this is where they want to spend a lot of time, because even if they don't get pickoffs, it's time Fnatic's not farming, and Kaipi say, well, we'll farm out your neutrals for you.
And even, they're also just going into here as 4, because it gives them a very safe opportunity to clear out all the Fnatic sentry wards and place their own observer ward. Yeah. Take a look at the vision that Kaipi have of Fnatic's space. Oh man, there's Trixie dead. I mean, that's what that vision gets you. They know every single position of every single Fnatic player at basically all times. Hani getting vacuumed back in. I don't think they can pursue this just because the Shackle did land on Envy. But still, they know everywhere that all Fnatic players are, basically at all times.
It's incredible. And we will see the Ursa Aegis expire, but I imagine KP aren't going to be too bothered. They're not really looking to push and end the game anyway, so A just isn't really key for them. They're just looking for pickoffs, they're looking for farm, and they'll take the next Roshan because it's almost the equivalent of some tower gold, so they'll quite happily just keep sitting back and playing this very passively. And right now, Fnatic are just getting frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sort of dripping away. The gold graph isn't... It's not, like, plummeting, because Fnatic are finding decent creep farm, even if Kaipi are finding far better hero farm. But it's still just ever so slightly inching in the direction of Kaipi. And until Fnatic, they're so far behind that they would need to hit several major items to tip the scales of the fight. And Kaipi know that. They're going to wait until just before Fnatic start getting comfortable, and then show them just how sort of uncomfortable their position is.
Yeah. Envy and Pylai still farming enemy jungle. The force up is now up on Venomancer.
Looks like Heart, maybe, for Envy this time.
What's he picked up? Oh, he's got 3.4k gold. Wow.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised by Heart, but it doesn't...
I mean,
against a lifestealer who can sort of use that to his advantage with the feat.
That's true. It is bad relatively against lifestealer. I mean, bad is relative, because it does give Envy more damage.
He may just be going for a straight full-on BKB. He could have been buying the pieces, but I would say it's more like...
BKB, yeah,
I'd say more likely goes for a BKB, or a Basher. Basher's not too bad either.
Yeah, actually, Basher will be quite good in this game. I think BKB, actually, on second thought, is he might just build the full one.
Yeah.
Fnatic, like I said, one thing that they can sort of start doing is doing a little bit of counter push and split push. Get a little bit of that, which is 3 TPs. No joke from Kaipi here. Nice fissure yet again from No-Tail. He's going to try TPing out this Oh, wow, what a vac. What a vac, and No-Tail falls. Pylai die with a nice Venomous Gale, but Hani actually immediately responding with the 4-step. Actually gets out of it. It doesn't land on him. But Envy, he's so freaking fast. Another blink and he's going to be beset Fnatic. The Bear so slow. It's got the Gale and the Shadow Strike on it. They won't actually be able to pursue this all the way. Envy cops an Illuminate to the face, but he doesn't really care that much. They can just push this tier 2, I think, probably.
Yeah, I think they're just going to go for the tier 2. BKB now is going to be the item choice for Envy, and tier 2 should be able to go down. The other spell which is really annoying for us is the Blinding Light. Blinding Light,
absolutely,
such a high evasion rate. Ooh, Veno,
Pylai jumps right in with the 4-staff. He will actually pop that Poison Nova. Era will probably get this kill, but he will start taking away as soon as this rage ends. He infests to kill. Nice, they get him with the Illuminate. But in the backfield of play, another amazing vac and the wall. Arise will go on it with his ultimate. It picks off a No-Tail and Arise. There is a Bear on him, but unfortunately it's enfeebled. It's doing barely any damage.
Era wins the man fight with Ursa. Era and Ursa were man fighting.
Nice.
Fnatic. They strike back.
From downtown, the power shot actually picking off Bone 7. And Zissou in a bit of trouble here. Will he get Trixie? Probably not. Another power shot. One more hit from the Spare. There's the entangle. Zissou goes down, and Fnatic, wow, they really put that together. And Lifestealer showing that he's not to be trifled with when he has a Vlad's and good time on target.
Yeah, the Vlad's combined with the Feast, combined with the Open Wounds Lifesteal, made him able to take Envy in a 1v1. He did have a tiny bit of help, but also Envy was a bit low HP before the fight even began. The long range spam from Fnatic. By the time Envy looked to go in and take a fight, he was down to almost a quarter HP, so he couldn't really stay alive very long. And overall, it looked like a better fight for KP, but it was just a couple small things towards the end, like Envy unable to sort of kill anyone in a fight. As your main carry, as an Ursa at this point, being unable to engage basically means KP can't fight.
And we talk about, I mean, the BKB will make a difference. He hadn't had it delivered to him yet. We talk about how small things can have a big effect. That early Illuminate that only hit Envy actually kind of ended up being a big deal, because he engaged at 60% HP, and quickly that 60 became 30, and then that 30 became 0 fighting the Lifestealer. But he is finally on this Roshan pit, just soloing this down. Aegis and BKB will make Envy a lot less scared.
Yeah, he's not going to be too worried next fight. He's going to be heading to... imagine we see KP look to almost probably take down another tier 2 tower. Looks like they are heading towards the bottom lane here. Scout the Lone Druid in just a second here, but KP are the ones, despite that fight not going too well for them, they got a tower out of it, they are still ahead and in control of this game.
Yeah, the issue for Fnatic is kind of, they won that fight, but if you look at the gold graph impact of it, it's marginal. They're still just getting bled dry by KP, because KP's still, I mean, they did get the tower out of it. Sure, they lost 4 heroes, but they got even more map control. And, I mean, the XP graph, it was briefly better, and then Roshan dies and it falls all the way back down.
Well, we'll be seeing the same build out of Trixie, it looks like. He's going to be going for the Basher once again after the armor. Has got the Belt of Giant Strength just on his hero for the time being, but he'll want to have that Basher to help deal with the Ursa.
Yep.
But the problem is, I feel like this game, it's not just Ursa. You've got to worry about Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain's going to have a Scythe of Ice soon, and it's level 16, so those Sonic Waves in these fights are doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, they're going to need a plan to deal with the Queen of Pain. That's a fantastic point. But speaking of bashers, I mean, Era's making one too. He is also has that Javelin. That's going to be a basher. And Hani making the thing about this Sheep Stick, it's not that Sheep Stick isn't an amazing item, because it of course is, and he's going to hit it in about 600 plus 1,500 gold. So he'll have it, but this Ursa just put up his BKB, so it's 10 seconds. Queen of Pain has had her BKB forever, but he hasn't needed to use it, Arise, and this is the mark of a smart player, by the way. He has had this BKB for 13 minutes, maybe even 14 minutes, and he's only had to use it once. And he's like he hasn't made a mistake. Like he's only died one time, and that was before the BKB. So the two targets that you would want to lock down with that Sheep Stick, other than perhaps Zizou, have immunity to it for a long period of time.
Yeah, and that's going to... I agree. It's going to make it very, very difficult for sort of Fnatic to use this winner and item pickup to really great effect. I don't feel like, if anything, it's going to even be sort of a major turnaround item for him, compared to something like an Ursa picking up his BKB or Queen of Pain picking up her side of the Vice. I feel like that's a much bigger deal.
Absolutely, because of course Fnatic, because of the measures they've had to take, because of this basher stacking, don't have any immunity on their side to the dramatic effect that it could have on them. And actually, we might have a fight. Hani is going to pick up the tower. Wow, amazing deny from Arise. I'm really surprised that he pulled that off, actually.
Yeah. And, there's going to be a vacuum.
Back again.
Oh,
Bone
man.
7. There's the ultimate from Arise. Trixie taking a lot of damage. Era will probably make this out okay, but they lose Trixie again.
Zizou was showing up just a bit too late. He had the grip ready, but losing either Trixie or Era at any point this game is going to be really costly anyway. So
yes,
it hurts.
Need both of these heroes. It can't just be one. It has to be both, and losing either of them is painful. And that earns Bone 7 his Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger, an item we see more and more in Dark Series these days because of this more mobile fighting metagame. And it's huge in this because it means that he's going to get those vacuums perfectly. It gives Kaipi tremendous initiation. Ursa blinks, Veno Force Staffs, Darkseer blinks, and Queen of Pain blinks.
Yeah, it's really a fantastic way that KP are playing this. They're making up for the Fnatic's lack of mobility by getting all these mobility items of their own so they can punish Fnatic. They'll be easily able to catch heroes like Keeper, like Earthshaker out of position, and even just finding Lifestealer. Sure, he's got the rage to get out of there, but if you get a Gale on him or if you get a grip on him, he's going to be slowed or stuck in place, and Ursa can easily follow that up. So I feel for Fnatic, they're playing from behind right now. But I mean, we've been saying that for a while. It's still the case, and Fnatic, they don't really have any answers in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I feel like they're... I don't know. Would you say that they're more or less behind than Kaipi were at this same point?
I can look at the gold graph a bit. It's probably about very similar. I remember the highest it got for Fnatic around this game was about 12k, but I guess
I mean strategically.
I think strategically they're more behind, because I felt like KP could actually get back in the game. They had heroes farming always. They had potential for pickoffs using the Nature's Prophet, the Nyx Assassin Vendetta initiations. So not only could they get KP, they could also farm, and they had a hero with the potential to scale well to the late game in Ursa. But
sure. Not that it happened, but it could have happened, yeah.
For Fnatic, they have got late game, but they just don't have that transition. How do you get there?
Right.
Fnatic can't gank, they can't farm, they can't really teamfight either. So I just feel Fnatic, there's no way to get back into this game.
I gotta say, even though they lost a hero, I was talking about the split push, and having this area not... Kaipi can no longer TP in here, means that this region is a little safer. Oh, right, you can't see my drawings. No. So the region in the top lane, that's sort of from where the tier 2 Fnatic top used to be, to about the river or a little bit beyond it, is a lot safer for Fnatic now than it used to be. And for me, it's all about getting those little avenues in which you feel okay farming. The next step, in my opinion, is to try to get the tier 1 bot and then secure this jungle for yourself. Aggressively counter ward here and try to open up that jungle for Trixie to farm in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Tier 1 bot, and even this tier 1 mid, it's at this point in the game, having a tier 1 mid tower up is so important, because if let's say KP are taking a fight on the enemy side of the map, someone dies by his back, being able to TP to that tier 1 mid tower is the shortest point to bring reinforcements from. Yeah. It's such a focal point on the map, also right by the Roshan pit, so having a tier 1 up at this point is a huge strategic advantage for KP.
Absolutely. Until the... so Fnatic can't even think about the next Roshan unless both their tier 1s for Kaipi are down. Yeah. They will absolutely 100% just need to seed it. if they could find both tier 1s by then, I actually think they could try to make a stand at Roshan. Earthshaker is an amazing Rosh hero. Oh, Envy beating down this bear.
No bash luck.
Yep. And actually, I think the Basher is done on Era. Yeah, it is. But the problem is there's a Basher done on Ursa, too.
Yeah. And T2 tower goes down uncontested. It looks like Kaipi are actually going to keep on trying to push this one out. Age is still up, only for about a minute now, so Ursa does need to be careful not to lose this mid-fight, but...
Yeah. So that device down on Windrunner, but we talked about this. I mean, the BKBs are going to make it tough. He misses the Earth Shock, and actually Venomous Gale somehow misses too, so this bear getting all the luck in the world, in my opinion.
They're really looking to just kill off the Spirit Bear in these fights.
Yeah,
I think they decide it's, I mean, almost the highest damage dealing thing in the fight, not to mention...
Except one huge thing, gods. Enfeeble.
Yeah.
This bear is doing 17 damage right now. Oh, No Tail gets caught out on the low ground, and they pick him off. And that's a big loss, actually. He is a very, very good turtling. He has buyback, but I think he wanted Blink Dagger, and now he's very far away from it. I think that might be the end of Envy's Aegis. Yes.
Okay.
Good call, me. Died within 1 second of me saying that.
So, probably see this tier 2 tower go down. I don't think we see a buyback from Earthshaker, but once this tier 2 tower goes down, I don't think KP look to hang around. They probably back off, keep on farming. They've already... The beauty of pushing out all these lanes and being on the enemy side of the map is they've used this Venomancer gem to deward almost everything.
Yeah. The gem has been a huge deal. I'm glad you brought it up, because, again, Fnatic need to try to reestablish some form of map sense, and they can't get it because Pylai Dai is just rotating around, clearing out all of the wards that they try to put up. And that's almost insuperable for Fnatic. I don't know how they fix that. We do see Envy is sheep down. They're actually going to deal a lot of damage. The scythe, the Shiva's barely lands. Fly taking gobs of damage. Envy, he pops the BKB. Era is Fiend's Grip. They will take him down, and that's unfortunately a fight that they can no longer even try to contest. Trixie just walks right through that wall. It generates an illusion. Arise, running from the Spirit Bear. He will TP to the high... Sorry, he will jump to the high ground. He's going to be okay. Envy, meanwhile, just beating down this tier 2 tower. The Fortify comes out for Fnatic, so they fend Kaipi off this tier 2, but they won't have any Fortify for 5 minutes in case Kaipi decide to go for a tier 3 later.
Yeah, really nice blink counter initiation from Darkseer, and once he did that, it was only Lifesteal attacking Envy. Envy got really low, but with just one hero on him, bang, Fiend Scripts that target, Lifesteal gets Fiend Script, and Envy heals himself back up a little bit with the Vlads, and it's all over for Fnatic at that point in that team fight.
It was so close too, honestly, gods. Yeah. They had such a good jump in on Envy. Kaipi thought that Fnatic would just flee because No Tail was down. And Fnatic actually correctly guessed that and went all in on Envy with the quick sheep stick before he could possibly pop his BKB. And it seems so close, but then just the counter initiation from Bone 7. You were talking, gods, about the mobility that KP can put in. And it earned them that fight.
Yeah. It really did. Having 4 Staffs, Blink Daggers just makes the entire difference there. We saw at the end, Fnatic, 3 heroes chasing Arise. They had no chance in hell of killing him when he's got BKB, Ghost Scepter, and Blink.
Oh, God.
That's just evil. You talk about Blink Dagger almost up on No Tail, but at this point, how's he going to farm that gold for it?
Oh, no. Trixie actually Shivas and the Venomous Gale. That's so much slow on him. He will actually make it because he's very tanky. He's 2271.
Yeah.
But still, just keeping Fnatic penned in. Fnatic, 5 minutes ago, could still farm a little bit on the bottom lane, basically near the tier 2 and all the way up the top lane. Right now, it's the top lane, and if something makes it to the high ground. That's it. That's all the area that they have to play around with. And in 5 minutes, I'm not sure they'll even have that.
Well, KP do sort of mess up a smoke gank there. They smoke as Venomancer went out to attack, and I think almost under clear sight, but it doesn't really seem to matter at this point. KP, wherever they go, are just finding kills, finding farm, and Fnatic, nothing is working for them.
Right. Hani just continues to try to counter-push this. He will actually make it out, so he didn't quite get to the tower, but he does push out one lane, gives Fnatic a tiny bit of breathing room since, of course, Kaipi rotated 3 people over here. Zizu and Bone 7 both still in that unsuccessful smoke and Arise, so that's space for Fnatic, and the problem is they just don't feel confident enough taking it, because even Envy by himself can blow up anybody. You can see Era. He walks up to the creep camp and he's like, nope.
He's scared. You look at just the farm on some of these KP heroes. The support Venomancer has 2.5k gold with a 4-star. It's just ridiculous. Only the Bane isn't all that farm, but he's still well ahead of the 2 Radiant supports. He's got an Ogre Club and... Yeah, like I said, BKB coming. I imagine we see KP pick off.
Era, of course, he can get away from a person jumping on him, because he can just rage out, but
Roshan
still...
about to respawn, so I imagine KP maybe just wait for that.
Probably. I think if I'm Kaipi, I think I wait for that and just... Because again, Fnatic, we talked about if they don't have the tier 1s down, they have zero chance to contest the Roche. Their best case scenario is that they kill off a couple Kaipi heroes, Kaipi buys back and wipes Fnatic and still gets the Roche.
Yeah, I don't see any scenario where Kaipi don't get the Roshan and it goes bad. And every scenario I see it going badly for Fnatic. So
yeah.
I just think Fnatic, if they say, okay, they're roaching, let's use this opportunity to push out top and middle lane, get some more farm, and just get some sort of wards up as well. Even though they've got the gem, getting wards up, we see a couple decent ones here. You always want to put them on cliffs, because that means Venomance actually has to take the effort of going out of his way, put a ward up there, put a plague ward up there, and actually scout it out. Where otherwise he might not be looking for it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The problem is Fnatic's amount of time that they gained by not contesting this Roshan was like 15 seconds, on the order of 15 seconds. Envy, by the way, finishing his Abyssal in addition to picking up that Aegis. So I talked about how Era can sort of get away. Not so much now.
Yeah, he can kill whoever he wants at any time, practically. Lone Druid probably one of the tankier heroes here out there, but even Lone Druid will take a fall, considering he's got the BKB, so nothing can really counter-initiate him.
Right. And there we go. They've actually high-grounded. Shiva's already going on fly. He gets popped. In the process of blinding lighting, Envy's Bear Claw just mashes his face. Yeah. And no Keeper of the Light for 27 seconds. He doesn't have buyback, and they're just going to... That's a lot of their turtling power actually gone. Envy just whacking away at that. Trixie, he does get the entangle, but again, this bear just does very little damage. Nice shackle, actually. Maybe this is some hope, but Arise is on the high ground. He's BKB. He pops his ultimate. No Tail going to drop very quickly. The vacuum will finish it off. The wall is up inside of their base. Envy just going to town on this Spirit Bear. Does Trixie have the resummon? Yes, he does. There's the Fiend's Grip on Era. That's more trouble for them. They do actually stun out Zizu somehow, but they are pushed back into their fountain, and if I'm Kaipi, I just peel back and just take care of this tower right now. Envy actually out of mana. The mana leak did strike. They do entangle him, but this bear still enfeebled. It has 57 damage. Bone 7 again with the blink, again with the Shivas, again with the vacuum, and there's no way Fnatic can escape. Hani with these again on-point shackles, but shackle isn't enough at this point. It just isn't enough to do anything. The entangle comes out on Zizu. Era will probably pick him off here. Nice! Oh my god, that was a great nightmare. They do manage to pick him off, but Era is now sheeped, and they will just flee. Nice shackle again. Hani. Great play. They might get Pala die. The Abyssal goes out on Era. They do sheep Envy. He might lose his Aegis here. Yes, he does. So Fnatic, they're still defending. Every vacuum is on point, but they have their Raxes up. They're actually not doing so bad.
Envy's just gonna fight.
Yeah, he pops his BKB. He's going to take down this bear. He does not have a resummon for like 80 freaking seconds. Era, he's in a lot of trouble here. He's going to try to man fight. I don't know how I feel about this. The shackle doesn't latch. Maybe if the shackle had latched, but oh, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Shiva's up again. Envy going to take down Trixie. Envy going to... Arise going to take down Hani. He's sheep. That's a dead Windrunner. The buyback from Era. The buyback from Hani. Envy actually, he does get stunned out a little bit. He's just going to walk his way on out of here. So Fnatic, as big losses as they've incurred, they still have their racks, actually.
They hold, but I feel like there was like a 90-second teamfight of just watching mostly Fnatic heroes die. Yeah. Trying to defend.
There was a meat grinder effect, definitely, but Envy actually doesn't have the mana for Blink, let's note, so they may catch him out here. There's the sheep, a good shackle, wait for it, well, they don't need to wait for it, they could just power shot him down. Good kill, actually, he's got the buyback, but I don't know, Gods, as bad as that was, could have been a lot worse.
It could have. Losing Rax is losing the game. I was sort of watching this fight thinking, man, I feel like Fnatic, at any point they're going to lose a key hero and just call GG because they lose Raxes, but they hold on barely.
Barely.
It was Mana Leak to me was the big spell there. Twice Ursa died, both with Aegis and then without it, and it was because of Mana Leak. He ran out of mana, diving too far, and then he paid the price. Oh my gosh.
Nice response to Arise there, but unfortunately Era is going to have to flee. Hani in trouble here. He actually is Nightmare. There's the Poison Nova onto Hani's actually a good Earth Fissure from Earthshaker, but the Fiend's Grip on Hani, and meanwhile everybody else is getting chased by Ursa. Era, he's Abyssal. He's down. He has no buyback. He just uses buyback in that last fight. This might actually be Fnatic tapping out. They wanted to find a trade, and they just didn't. Oh my god, Fly is dying quickly. He does pop off that Blinding Light. Well timed there, but here we go. Kaipi moving on in. They will just skip past this middle tower and clear out these Raxes because they don't have to worry about either Windrunner or Lifestealer. And there's no hope, even with the buyback from Fly. How can they possibly defend these? They pop the Fortify. It's almost a token Fortify, Gods. I don't know. I think Kaipi have it.
No Tail blinked into some trees at the bottom line. That was so unfortunate. His Blink Echo Slam as Queen of Pain BKB.
Yep.
I don't know if it was fast reactions from Arise or if it was BKBing because of something else, but... Oh, they can't defend that without that Echo Slam, it feels like. Not to mention, Lifestealer and Windrunner both on the sidelines. Two sets of Raxes at least going down, and this could be where we see Fnatic tap out.
And that takes us to a game 3, I think. We talked about in the last game, even though Kaipi lost, that they still looked very solid. And really, this is a team that the more we see them, the more it seems like they can challenge the top European teams, no problem.
Yeah, it seems... I wouldn't put them up there with the tier 1 teams, but they're like that just small step below them. They can actually contest with them.
Yeah, I think it's like... I agree with you, but I feel like the power curve is just really flattened in the US and Europe. Like, you used to have like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and they were very clearly defined. Now it's like tier 1 and tier like 1.4-ish, and that's where Kaipi and AL like really sit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. You compare it to like the Asian scene where IG just beat absolutely everyone all the time. And then you've got your sort of like LGD, DK, Zenith, who are your clear tier 1 teams, but Europe and America, I feel like overall there's just a much greater depth of teams.
They do get a rise. I thought that they wouldn't just because Bone 7's vacuum was amazingly on point again. But they do finally pick off a rise with some lucky entangles. They're actually getting great luck on these entangles in general. Maybe they'll get Bone 7 too, but
Shackle.
This doesn't matter. Like, these shackles are amazing. Hani actually, if anybody on Fnatic has had a really good game, Hani's been really, really on point. The shackles have been great, the power shots have been great. He's 8-4-3, and I mean, he deserves every bit of that. 8-5-3 now, but still.
Yeah, well, KP will take this game. It was... I mean, so much goes back to that top lane just falling apart. It's a tri-lane versus tri-lane, and I would give Fnatic the slight edge in that tri-lane. And even if they just break even, you've got a Windrunner in a 1v1 matchup against Queen and Pain, Lone Druid 1v1 against the Darkseer.
Right.
2 1v1 matchups, which I would also give Fnatic a slight edge in. And it's
Windrunner Quap, I'm not sure, but definitely the bottom lane.
And once top lane falls apart, everything falls apart, because Lifestealer had to go bottom, the supports had nowhere to go, and the entire Fnatic strategy fell apart once that top lane lost, which it shouldn't have.
Absolutely. I mean, your Darkseer Lone Druid, like, you feel good about that. But then Lifestealer, who's behind a couple levels to Darkseer, is awful, because you can't approach to try to get a last hit without your rage cooldown up, because otherwise you just cop tremendous amounts of damage. And so Lone Druid gets banished to the jungle, and right from there, right from the point that Fnatic give the top lane up, you have a lineup with 3 heroes that all sort of need farm, or all sort of want farm, and not enough space to do it, because you no longer have 3 lanes plus a jungle. You've got 2 lanes plus a jungle. Then it became 1.5 lanes. Then it became no jungle. And yeah, they just couldn't recover from that.
Well, the bad news for Fnatic fans is they're not going to get the 2-0 win. We are going to be going into a Game 3, which is good news for Dota 2 fans, and we're going to see who's going to take it. Winner goes on to advances to winner bracket semi-finals to face EG. Loser drops down to the loser bracket where they'll face Team Liquid. But game number 3, the decide, coming up soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been a Beyond the Summit coverage of the G1 League. Game 3 coming up now.